everyone. Semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Thank you all for being here. Let me know if you can hear me down over there in the chat. I know we got a couple people here already. Rick is here from Charging Mopar. Yes, it is ducky time. I wish I was thawing out some ducks, Bert. I like ducks. And you say it's still hot there. It still looks like that behind me outside. Well, we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Glad I made it. Had an issue earlier with my oversensitivity to light and got a terrible headache, so I went for a 2-hour nap. Woke up in time. Seems like it's okay now, though. Good. I'm glad you're feeling better. Yeah, diesel does gel up the temperatures we're in here, which is why if you're caught here without the first time it gets cold here, because they do have additives you can put in the diesel fuel to keep it from gelling up, but a lot of people will go, oh, it's not going to be that cold tonight. And then, of course, the very first time it gets this cold out, you'll see trucks all over the highway stranded because they didn't put anti-gel in their fuel. Here, I can imagine diesel here can be a problem that goes below 40 degrees. Yes, indeed. And make it, Mikey, we're good, just 2 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm glad people can hear me. Patricia, hello, Patricia. Glad you're here. And Don is here. Glad you're here. Don, and Craig has made it. I'm glad you're here, Craig, as well. And let's see who else we've got here. Richard Williams he didn't type it in, but he is from Copper Hill, Tennessee. My seed oil-powered truck will be dead there. Oh, yes. Yes, it is. And it looks like Mikey has gifted 5 semi-retired Bob memberships. Thank you very, very much. It looks like Rick got one of them. And Mama Cracker is here. Hello, everyone from Ohio. Thanks for doing that, Mikey. I'm sure everybody that got one really appreciates it. But yeah, I've had a couple of bad days. Not bad days. As you'll see in Sunday's video, I did not get out and walk on Wednesday because I was tired. Not just tired, but feeling a little off. You know, what I always talk about listening to your body, it's not the, oh, I just don't feel like doing it kind of thing. If that's where you're at, just get up off the couch and go do it. But if you're having an actual, I don't feel good day, then I don't care what challenge you're doing. Listen to your body first. After that day off, yesterday I went out for a walk and recorded Sunday's video, I think it was. And you'll see that one coming up here pretty soon. And I felt really, really good. I got almost a 2-mile walk in, and there was, because I decided I was going to get out Center Street and back, there was some knee-deep snow that I went through. I didn't realize it was going to be that deep. And then once I was into it, it was either turn around and go back the way I came or try and get across the berm onto the street, which was even deeper and harder to get through. So I just plowed on through. But so I walked very close to 2 miles, but a lot of it was really hard walking. And then we had a snow squall came through yesterday afternoon. For those of you that don't know what a snow squall is, it's basically just snow with wind behind it. It wasn't a whole lot. It was 2.5 inches of snow that dumped in about an hour with 45 to 55 mile an hour winds behind it. So it drifted everywhere. And so on top of all that, I went out and cleared the driveway last night in the dark. I didn't get any footage of that because it's hard to get footage of what I'm doing in the dark, but I wanted to get it done because it was 22 degrees here yesterday, and now it's negatives here today. And I wanted to get that all cleaned off before it froze into place. So I got all that done. And then, of course, the snow plows came through. And I've talked about this before. If you have the choice, don't ever get a house on a T intersection. Because as you'll see, and I believe it's Monday's video, or it might be Tuesday's, I'm not sure where I'm at in the queue. The footage I took this morning, I went out because the snowplow had come through. First, it comes down our street and piles a bunch of crap at the end of my driveway. But then they come down the street across the way, and as they turn the corner, everything that they scrape up out of the intersection gets dumped into the end of my driveway. So you guys will see this massive amount of crap at the end of my driveway that I had to chop out. I started off trying to use the snowblower. That wasn't working, so I got my chopper and chopped it all up and snowblowed it out and worked on it for quite a while. It was a lot of heavy work, and now I'm tired. So I'm probably going to count that as my walk today and just do a voiceover on that video. I haven't finished all that up yet, but you'll get to see an impressive pile of crap at the end of my driveway that happens when I just have, a couple inches of snow. So you can imagine what it was like earlier in the week when I was trying to clear out from underneath the foot of snow we got. Just so you could see it, I moved my camera up closer to it. I'd never actually had it just sitting out in front of my truck that close before. And when I came back in, it took a while for it to warm back up so I could charge and transfer, because I was getting a batteries too cold warning on it, which is the first time that's happened. So it's been pretty doggone cold here. Let's see here. Got to share those tap dance videos. Yeah, I haven't put any new dance videos up in a while. Hopefully I'll make it out to dance this Tuesday. The weather's been awful the last couple of Tuesdays, so I actually haven't been to dance since before Christmas. I'm hoping to get over there this week. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Well, it was the day of the stream with Dave that I didn't do anything. As I will explain in the video, for those of you that are members, you can go watch it because it's already posted. I post things as a members-only video, and then it goes live at the regular time for everybody else. But, yeah, so after I got done with the stream with Dave, I thought about watching some TV, doing some other stuff, and I just went to bed and slept for pretty close to 12 hours that night. So that was, my body needed some sleep, so that's what I did. Let's see here. COVID is going around again. A friend of mine is in the hospital with it. Yeah. Of course, it's, it's primary season. Not saying that has anything to do with it, but, the Iowa caucuses were just out here a few days ago, and the rest of the primaries are starting to come up. So, of course, there's going to be some kind of a problem. And this is not a political channel, so that's all I'm going to say about that. They're in the membership area in the channel, Craig. Yes. Too bad I can't influence who gets a membership. I understand. It's a shame they don't let people have a tractor or a bobcat to move snow out of their driveways. Well, a lot of people have stuff like that, but I don't have any heavy equipment here. And it was just, as you will see in the video that I believe comes out on Sunday, it was just too heavy. The snowblower wouldn't cut into it. And there was a lot of big, heavy ice chunks in it. Because, of course, every time something freezes on the road, then the snowplow comes through and grinds up that ice and throws it at the end of my driveway. So I'm left with big, not just baseball-sized chunks, but the chunks of ice the size of my head and bigger that I then have to chop up with my ice chopper before I can run the snowblower over it. It's So I am once again worn out today, but I'm going to do this live stream. Then I'm going to get some food. And I think that's about all I'm going to do for the day. Bert says he's right at a T, but luckily we don't often have your kind of snow horror. Yeah, I understand. It has been a really bad January. Normally we get, one or two snows that have to be done up in January and then another 2 or 3 in February. And we've gotten, well, I burned through almost 3 tanks of gas in the snowblower already. I mean, it's been a pretty brutal week. Not even quite 10 days, week and a half maybe. Snow machines here in Sweden aren't any more considerate. I have to change street sides or walk on the street down the road because they dump things on the walkway. Yeah, that happens here. You'll see a bunch of that in one of the videos that's out there. And Susan's here. Hello, Susan. How are you doing today? I believe Susan's over on the other side of Omaha. Thanks. I love watching Blustery Bob doing snow removal. You are getting multiple views from me. Good. You're looking very healthy today. Yeah, well, hopefully I look very healthy every day. Some days I'm dragging down a little bit more. This getting out in this extreme cold has really been dragging on me a little bit, but it's better today. Yeah. Your friend is in Minnesota, has a bobcat for his long driveway. It's a lot better than a snowblower. Yeah, and my neighbor has a much better snowblower than I have, and if the snowblower ever craps out here, I'd like one of those that instead of just the spinning blades inside of it, I'd like to get one of those big heavy duty ones that actually has the big brush inside of it, because that looks like it would do a much better job. This is colder January than usual. Yeah, it's been really cold, but on the plus side, it's supposed to be really cold tonight. They're talking minus 16, minus 17 again. But tomorrow it's supposed to warm up to 5, and then by Monday it's supposed to be up into the low 30s for Monday and Tuesday. I haven't looked much past that because the long-term forecasts are not very accurate, but it is supposed to warm up some next week. So we'll see what happens. It's consecutive day 23 for me. I'm now leaving my cycle. I usually fall off the wagon, have all the cravings, but at the moment it still works. Good for you. I still can't understand why we are having such hot weather here. Yeah, well, why don't you loan us about 30 of your degrees there, Rick, so that, we can both be at a reasonable temperature. Howdy from warm, almost sunny California. Hello, Gail. How are you today? I'm glad you're here. Now let me go ahead and change that over to that. Recognizing the channel members. As it was before, Mikey put a bunch of gifts out there. I wish the scale would budge, but that's one thing that makes this week harder still. Trust the process, trust the process. Yeah, well, the thing to look at, don't worry about the scale budging or not budging. It's not going up. And not going up is sometimes just as good as the scale going down. Ryan Hall, y'all always had the most accurate forecasts. I should have become a weatherman. I mean, I've always wanted a job where I could, be wrong 75, 80% of the time and still keep my job. That would be awesome. Most people I know have jobs that if you're wrong even 1% of the time, you lose your job. And weatherman just don't fall into that category. I went up a pound in a week, so it's not really going up, right? That's correct. 1 pound in a week, that's not gain. You have to understand that between water weight and everything else. That's why the scale is such a horrible thing to rely upon, because the scale can change. It can fluctuate 3 to 5 pounds per day just on water weight and that kind of stuff. And Addicted to Antlers is here. Hello, young lady. How are you today? Went up 7 pounds in the last 2 months. It's no big deal. I got a lot more inflammation than I did. Those small ups and downs aren't significant. As Bob said, it's water. And let's see here. Craig is talking to Charger Mopar. Rick, your extreme temperatures are due to that own wood-burning trucks. Now, that would be interesting. I'd like to see, because we know Rick makes his own diesel fuel out of used vegetable oil. I'd like to see him make a wood-burning truck. There's a project for you, Rick. Make a wood-burning truck that actually travels. You put a big smokestack on it. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a very big guy, but he's a motor guy. He's a car guy, and he has this thing that he calls his smokestang. He took a Mustang and dropped a great big diesel engine in it, and has his smokestack coming right out the top, so that when he races it, it literally covers the entire track with smoke. It's actually kind of cool if you haven't seen him. If you go to YouTube and search Smokestang, you'll probably find him. Let's see here. What am I missing on here? I can be pound up and pound down from day to day. Yep. And Franny is here. Yesterday it was 70. Today it's only 39. I'm not complaining too much. Ryan Hall seems to be a very good meteorologist. I don't even know who Ryan Hall is, but that's okay. Yeah, I've seen drops that big before, But at least it's 39. 39 is still not below freezing, which is nice. And for those that were curious, I did a weather map search and discovered that this morning, when it was, I think it was -5 here this morning, or -4. It was very cold this morning. As near as I can tell at my property in Texas, it got very cold last night. It was like 42 degrees on the overnight last night. And it's supposed to get up to 65 today. So I'm looking forward to that next winter. My wood-powered truck looked like Mad Max. Went all the way to Iowa with it. Interesting. I don't know who that is. Let's see here. Rick already has a wood-burning truck. He primes it with seed oils. Okay, now let's see what else we were going to talk about today. Of course, if anybody has any other questions or comments, go ahead and get them in there. As you saw, I just put out a video, or maybe that's the one that's coming out tomorrow. I don't remember. But under eating is the first problem I'd look at if you're having problems. But the quote I saw that relates to several of us, and myself included. I don't remember who I stole this from, but it might have even been, oh, come on, camera. There you go. It might have even been on one of my church sites that I was looking at. But rather than looking at how far we still have yet to go, we should be grateful for the steps we've already taken. That rings so true with me, because of course, I've been saying for the last year I'd like to lose another 20 to 25 pounds. It hasn't come off this year. It may still come off before I hit my 2-year mark, but it has not. But, and we could look at that as something terrible. Oh my gosh, The scale hasn't moved in 9 months. I'm still where I was a year ago, and I haven't made any progress. Well, that's not exactly true. I've done a lot of stuff this summer and this winter that I couldn't have done a year ago, and certainly couldn't have done 2 years ago. So let's not get so wrapped up in the scale's not moving today, or I'm not losing inches today, or whatever it is. Let's remember where we were when we started and how much progress we have made over that time, so that, we can't lose track of where we have come from, because we have all made so much progress that, yes, now we've hit a stall. It's very easy to forget about where we were, concentrating on where we want to get to. I hope some of that made sense. Let's get back to comments here. 42 degrees Fahrenheit, he calls very cold. Yeah. No, I don't do meal prep. If I get hungry enough, I will eat. I do try to keep some boiled eggs in the fridge, but I tend to just eat those. Occasionally, if I've gotten full, I'll have a little bit of leftover meat in the fridge to eat, but I don't actually do meal prep. I eat once a day, and then if I get hungry and it's like, no, I could really go for something, I always go through my list of stuff. I start with a pinch of salt and wait 20 minutes or so. And then if the pinch of salt doesn't do it, I get up and go for a walk or do some kind of exercise. And by the time I get done with all of that, it's been 40, 45 minutes. If I'm still feeling like I want something, I break out 6, 8, 10 eggs, throw them in the pan and scramble them up, and I just go ahead and eat. If you get hungry like that, go ahead and eat. And it takes such a little amount of time to, pull more eggs out of the fridge and scramble them up. So the short answer to your question is no, I don't actually ever meal prep. I had a really interesting experience recently with priming. I started priming, got ravenously hungry for 5 days, could not eat enough, and was eating all day long. It calmed down after that, and I'm now back to my normal hunger signals, but I think I need to eat more. Yes, eating more. I was talking about that just a little bit, and I did a whole video on that recently, or it's coming out soon. I don't remember where they all are. I'm getting a little of that brain fog back, not because my diet is bad, but I think the cold's really wearing down on me. So, and I haven't been this far ahead on videos in quite some time. I think I've talked about that a little bit. I'm trying to continue to go ahead. Like Dave Mack and I are not doing a live this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, the 31st, I believe it is. Let me take quickly. Yeah, Wednesday the 31st, Dave and I will be doing another live. And for YouTube purposes, I tend to only put out one long form content a day, but I continue to make videos every day. So I'm getting further and further ahead. And I may take a little break at the start of February just after getting done, because I am going out and walking or plowing snow every day in January with no excuses. But I'm not going to take a big break, because I want to keep working myself to where I'm further and further ahead, so that hopefully by the end of this summer, early next fall, I will be 2 or 3 weeks ahead in videos, so that when I make the shift to Texas, I don't have to rush through trying to get internet set up. I'll have a 2 or 3 week cushion of videos, so that you guys won't even realize the switch has happened until I'm already down there and I've got the internet sorted out and I'm up and running again. That's my hope and my plan anyway. We'll see how it goes. Oh, I missed something here. Let's see here. Yeah. In World War II, many cars were powered by wood gas generators invented by George Imbert because of the gasoline shortage. Almost forgotten now. Yes. Let's see here. Oh, excuse me. I don't mean to be on in your faces like that, guys, but it's been a rough few days. I received a big bag of deer jerky for Christmas. Can I mail it to you? Why don't you eat it? Deer jerky's great, Craig. I do meal prep in a way. I buy my pork tenderloin or is that pork tenderloin? Either way, in big chunks. I'm cutting those up and freeze them in slices. Today I found that salting them only on one side stresses me less, but this helps. Okay. Hello, Robin. How are you today? I'm glad you made it. And what is priming? Priming, if you watch Steak and Butter Gal or go spend a month in her thing, basically priming, or Professor K did this once a year and some change ago. Basically, priming is you spend 2 weeks eating as much as you possibly can stuff in your face all day, every day, basically. The theory behind it, as I understand, is that a lot of people, because they're coming from a place of undernutrition, not eating enough, and all that, is to show you that you can eat a significant amount of food and still drop inflammation and reset your hunger cues and all that kind of stuff. If you go back and watch, Professor K has a video about this that he talks about quite often. He did priming and was eating. Now, of course, he caveats it with calories aren't really a thing, but he says he was eating between 6,000 and 6,500 calories per day for 2 weeks and still lost weight. Now, granted, he does admit that a lot of that was probably water weight, and the bioimpedance scales that you can buy are not very good judges, but even by that limited accuracy, he estimates that he lost between 2 to 2.5 pounds of fat while eating that many calories, which is part of what he uses to completely debunk the calories in, calories out myth, because it is a myth. You don't need to have a calorie deficit or an energy deficit or food deficit or any of that stuff. You just need to make sure you're eating the right amount of the right things. As Coach Bronson talks about a lot, rather than worrying about ratios, decide how much protein your body needs in a day, decide how much fat your body needs in a day, and eat that plus a little more to make sure you're not underestimating what you need. And that, I believe, answers the question of what is priming. Let's see what we got here. Speaking of getting up and doing something, after the live, I have to get up and vacuum the whole house. Good for you. And Rick will single-handedly bring back wood-powered vehicles that also operate on iguana skins. Hey, now there's a great idea. Yeah, priming is stuffing yourself full of nutrients, basically. You eat whenever you get hungry and eat as much as you can in that one sitting, and you keep going for a week or two. And then things level back out. Sorry, Franny, it looks like we dragged all the dirt in when the stream, visited you in your home today. Okay. Oh, wow, I thought I was almost caught up, but there's a whole bunch of new. Hungry during your fast. Bob, I know you prefer sardine jerky. I can honestly say I've never had sardine jerky and have no plans of trying sardine jerky. Sorry, I've got to take another drink of water here, guys. Oh, now let's see here. That kind of fuel won't be available everywhere, I guess. Yeah, well, and see, that's the problem. That kind of fuel is not available everywhere. Um, Not to get political or anything like that, but the latest thing that they're pushing on everybody to try and convert their vehicles to. Did you see the big story of all the stranded vehicles in Chicago because certain things wouldn't happen in the cold? Just something to think about. Yes, everybody send me your deer jerky, Craig. Let's see here. Well, we're excited to have you here, Robin. I'm glad you're here. Let's see what else we got going on here. Yeah, well, it doesn't account for a lot of things. See, the calories in, calories out might work a little bit if we were a closed thermodynamic system, but the human body is not a closed thermodynamic system. How are you going to account for everything that possibly goes out of your system? Like, I'm sitting in a vinyl chair with a cloth cushion on the seat versus sitting in a metal chair versus standing outside in the cold. All of those things create different thermodynamics for the body. There's calories in, calories out does not work. That's all I'm really going to say about it because I don't want to get myself into trouble. If you have questions about it and why it doesn't work, there's an entire playlist on Professor K's channel that will convince you that the whole calories in, calories out thing is nonsense. And he can explain it much better than I can. That's right. Smash that like button or just touch it gently. I don't want you to break it. Mike, thank you for the excuse, but I'm pretty sure it was my 2 dogs, 4 cats that caused the dirt. Also, my house is 100 years old, and the accumulated dirt sifts through many decades of wind. No, it can't possibly be the cats and the dogs. Upholstery with iguana. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Bob. Good explanation. And I've watched enough of Bart's videos now of him debunking calories in, calories out, that I believe I understand it, and even better, believe it. Yeah, and see, that's one of the big things. Trying to, you look at the science, hear the science, he talks about it, but because we have spent the last, I'm 60 years old, so as long as I can remember, people have been saying, eat less, move more, don't eat so much, you're going to get fat if you eat that much. It's just ingrained into our very being. So even though we have heard the science, we see the science, we know the science, believing it can be very hard. And I did stop myself from saying trust the science, because trust the science is the most unscientific thing you can say, because it's not trust the science. That's not how science works. Questioning science and doing more experiments to verify what you know, that's actually how science is done. Science was never meant to be trusted. Fermented fish, no thank you. Wait, does sardine jerky exist in reality? You could probably make it yourself if you wanted to. I mean, pretty much any kind of meat can be made into jerky, right? I don't know what that is. Dr. Chafee is visiting Steak and Butter Gang today at 5 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. And I mean, if I could afford I would jump right into Steak and Butter Gang just to say hi to some of the people there, but I can't afford that. Even if it, I don't even know how much it is, but it's more than I can afford. I spend $5 a month on Dr. Barry's group, and that's about the limit of what I can spend online for that kind of stuff. I do appreciate all the people that put just a few dollars a month into my channel, and I have reinvested most of that in some of the other carnivore channels as well, because that's just the way I think things should work. And wood gas truck would work in the Arctic. Yes, it would. These must. If you aren't to see someone who is not Swedish doing it right, watch. I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but that's okay. I know where you can get dried sardines. Awesome. Not. Yeah, I don't know. 29 watching and only 3 likes. Hit that button. Hello, John. How are you today? I'm glad you're here. Actually, I show 35 people in. Of course, that was I'm behind on comments again. Wow. It's fermented fish, and if you open the can inside the house without doing it underwater, then your house is not inhabitable for weeks. Okay. Fill your dehydrator with 10 cans of sardines, turn it on overnight. In the morning, your home will smell delicious. Ugh. Okay, let's see here. I'm so glad that I don't have a dehydrator now that Craig tells me this. Don't ever listen to Craig for cooking advice. That will definitely get you into trouble. I can't afford it either. I want a free month. I understand. You've inspired me to switch over to those little red Swedish fish. My local candy store carries them. Oh, I used to love those. And you remember the day when we all fell for the fat-free thing? I mean, Swedish fish was the first candy I remember finding that actually had on the package fat-free food. Now, of course, it's fat-free because it's completely and totally sugar. And the sugar, of course, would then turn to fat. But I, of course, fell for that. Oh, it's fat-free. That was back in the day. I understand you never fell for any of that stuff, Rick. You're special. I get it. You've never, you've been carnivore for 40 years. Most of us have not. Rick wanted as much fat as possible. Yep. Maybe now is not a good time to mention it's National Popcorn Day. Yeah, that's okay. I know some people that occasionally will eat a little bit of popcorn or something like that. Let's go ahead and talk about that for just a little bit. Whether it be a little bit of popcorn or a little bit of chocolate or a little bit of whatever, as long as you understand how it's going to make you feel, or you know that you're not going to have any adverse reaction to a little bit of it, I think that's fine. I'm not here to tell you you should never eat anything off plan, never, ever, ever, don't do it. But if you do, you just have to understand what that is going to do to your body. Is a handful of popcorn going to throw you off the rails forever? For most people, probably not. For some people, it could very well be their trigger that they don't want to eat it. That they eat just a little bit of it and they're off on the rails getting popcorn and chips and pretzels and running down to Taco Bell's to get a great big sack full of tacos and that's a really hard train to jump off of once you jump on it and take it for a ride. So just be careful what you know how your body's going to react. If you really like popcorn and it's National Popcorn Day, maybe have just a few kernels of it, see how you react to it. And then if everything goes okay, a week or so down the road, have a handful of popcorn. I wouldn't go over that, but that's entirely up to you. I'm not here to tell you how to eat. I'm here to tell you to think about what you're going to eat. And yep, I already hit that comment. Let's see here. I cook popcorn for friends in lard or home harvested coconut oil. Yeah. And I have to say popcorn in lard or coconut oil would be much better than doing it in vegetable oil, which is what most people use. I wish most of us were as smart in the first place. Most of I guess wouldn't be here though if we didn't fall for fat free. So there's your silver lining. How about we substitute popping pork rinds instead of corn? I've seen some of those throw them in the microwave kind of pork rinds. I've always been curious what the ingredients were like on those, if they used oil in them to make them go pop or if they're clean. If anybody's ever actually tried them and have investigated the ingredients, let us know in the chat, because they look like something pretty good, because I do like the occasional pork rind here and there. Yeah, I joined the Steak and Butter Gang for the month of January. It was $30. That's a lot, but I wanted to get in there and see what they're up to. I'm also a member of Dr. Barry's Mighty Network. Yes, and I might try and do a month of Steak and Butter Gang at some point, but $30, I mean, that's, for me, with the way I eat, that's about a whole week's food budget for me, because I've been trying to stay between $150 and $175 a month on my food budget. So that's quite a bit for somebody like me. Gail says I can't eat corn. Once I heard the top official of the USDA say that all corn stored in the U.S. has mold in it. I don't know. I'm sure it probably does. But most of the corn they're going to use for highly processed foods, and mold is probably not going to survive the grinding and the heating and the mixing with seed oils and all that other stuff. So I wouldn't worry so much about mold. I'd worry more about the processed food that it's in. But I understand you've had a problem with mold, Gail, so it's probably something for you to think about. Let's see here. I grew my own popcorn. Awesome, Rick. That's the way to do it. Grow it yourself. And of course, I'm assuming ducks love popcorn. Yes, they do. The best popcorn is cooked in beef tallow. Okay. Let's see here. Look up Swedish fish on Amazon. If Granny Pronghorn will pay me for the jerky, I can afford to send you some diet-busting Swedish fish. Swedish fish is basically like a gummy fish candy. It's red, and they're called Swedish fish because they're in the shape of whatever those big fish are that are known in the region. It was actually quite good. I really liked Swedish fish once upon a time. For $30, I would just buy steak and join the duck gang. By the way, Dr. Kilt's eye of Mighty Network is free for Dr. Kilt's. Excellent. That's some exciting news. I just noticed in my because back in your back office of YouTube stuff, Dr. Kilt's follows this channel. So if you happen to be watching, hello, Dr. Kilt's, give me a call. Let's talk. Memo to self, don't ever disclose address to Craig. Excellent, excellent choice. Even dead mold releases toxins that trigger CIRS. Yeah, Dr. Kilt's Mighty Network is free to join. And let's see here. Two Crazy Ketos have a good video on doing your own pork rinds. They said they were delicious, soft, and only have their own fat. Yes, hello, Dr. Kiltz, if you're watching. I doubt he is. He's a very busy gentleman. I occasionally would like to, stop in and watch his morning lives, but that's 5 o'clock in the morning here. I don't get up that early, not for any reason. That's ridiculous. Who in the world gets up that early in the morning on a day that they don't have to go to work? Yep, only us quacks are watching. Yes, indeed. Well, if you have any questions, now's the time to get them in. Let's see here. Yeah, that timing issue is why I regularly miss your lives with Dave. Yeah, and it's 5 o'clock Central. We've only done it twice. We're going to do it again here in 2 weeks and then analyze, see how it's going. I think it's been pretty good. We've had more viewers 2 days ago than we did last week. So hopefully we'll pick up a few more viewers in a couple of weeks and see how things go from there, because any exposure is good exposure. And that's, for those of us that are doing carnivore channels, I know most of you feel the same way. And I know, Rick, you haven't made a single penny off of this yet, but we all do YouTubes in hope of making $1 or $2. But that's not the primary driver, because even if you're at the point where I am, where you are making a couple of dollars off of YouTube, for the time invested and everything else, I could walk up and down the street and collect cans from the side of the road and make more money than I make on YouTube. But that would not accomplish my primary objective, and that is to spread the word. And that's why we're all here. We're trying to spread the word about the carnivore diet. In my case, I'm trying to spread the word that it's never too late to change your life. If I can reach one person while they're still young enough that they don't have to go through what I went through for the last 30 years of my life, then I feel like I have made a difference. So while you're thinking about it, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button yet, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you have not hit the share button yet, go ahead and share this out onto your social media. Email it to your friends. Tell everybody about it. And if it's not my channel, find a carnivore channel you really like and share that with everybody, because we really do need to get the word out. Let's see. You emphasize how important sleep is and then tempt me to watch you at midnight. Yeah, well, do as I say, not as I do. After this, I'm going to Winn-Dixie to buy pork belly. Excellent. That'll be fun. I'm on YouTube to scare people away from duck food. Not really. Although I do have, I still have another tray of chicken thighs in the freezer. And I do have another pork roast in the freezer. But no, I'm still 90 to 95% just ground beef and eggs, because it's cheap, it's easy. Hopefully my eggs go a little further this time, because the order I just got, they were out of the large eggs, so I got 36 extra large eggs. So we'll see if maybe I can get by with 5 to 7 eggs instead of 6 to 8. We'll see. But why would I vary it? I mean, like I said, the occasional pork roast, the occasional chicken thigh, a little bit here and there for like a Sunday dinner. But for the most part, ground beef and eggs is cheap. It's easy. It's simple. I know it's got plenty of nutrition in it. That's what I eat. How do I contact you? Well, that's very easy. SemiRetiredBob at yahoo.com. That's my email. It's listed there. It's listed on the About tab of my channel. It's all over the place, but it's SemiRetiredBob at yahoo.com. Now, I did not talk about this last week, so we are going to do just a little bit of talking about this before we go, but let me get back to the comments here. Don't be a quack, take your life back. That's a good one. I like that. Thank you very much. Got a lifelong friend to join me during Carnivore for World Carnivore Month, and yesterday she messaged me to thank me, said she's doing so much better and she's still transitioning. Yeah, that reminds me of the other thing I wanted to talk about today, just as a for your information, because you see a lot of so-called studies that are out there. And I'm going to get into this quite a bit in the interview I have coming up with Professor K. It's on Sunday, my time. It will be Monday morning, his time. But so that will air sometime later next week. But, when you're looking at studies, you'll see a lot of the people that eat on the other side of the aisle, they'll trot out these studies and say, see, it didn't make any difference, or it did this, or it did that. But then you look at it, and it's a 4 or 5 week study. Well, if you're changing somebody's diet, as all of us that have gone through the keto carnivore transition from standard American diet at some point, we know that while the severe effects, like in my case, took 2.5, 3 weeks to get rid of, whereas the severe effects of the transition might be over in a week or two, we all know from our own N=1 experiment that it takes 45 to 60 days before you're even approaching what you would consider a full transition. So for those studies to have any validity at all, they would have to extend them at least past the transition period for another, and then take their readings 4 or 5 weeks after the transition period. But they don't do that. They put somebody on some crazy ass diet. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but some crazy diet for 3 or 4 weeks and say, see, this is what it does. That's crap. You know as well as I do that you cannot transition that quickly and have any kind of usable results. Ooh, extra large eggs. When you started this sentence, I was worried you got M egg instead. No, extra large. And if if they're out of those, I'll get the jumbos. The jumbo eggs are pretty good too. I get up at 4:30 a.m. on weekdays and 5:30 a.m. on weekends. That's because you have a farm to run. And perhaps once I get fully settled into Texas and have livestock on my own, that's when I'll be getting up. But for right now, I ain't going outside here at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. It's just not going to happen. Yay, Gail. Yep, N=1. Yes, indeed. Grinding antlers takes all day. What time do you go to bed? About 10 o'clock. That would not be enough sleep. Oh, we got a couple new people in the chat. Southern Ketovore is catching alive for the last couple of minutes here. And Baddest Cat is here. Hello to both of you. As to the link scrolling along the bottom of the screen, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to make you aware. There is a product out there. Click on the link in my description and go read the science for yourself. All I will say is that we all know that adult stem cells are a thing in the human body. And after we are past the age of 18, the amount of adult stem cells that our body produces begins to go down. And I will also say that the Cerule products have science behind them that show they do exactly what they say they're going to do. There, that's my hard sell for the week. What do you think of that? Am I going to make it as a salesman in this day and age? Let's see here. Yes, it takes some time to heal the bigger health issues, even on a year or two. When you switch to a carnivore, ketovore diet, some things just take longer. Yes, absolutely. And all right, my dog's getting restless. Time to give him a walk. Good night, everybody. I'll be listening, but I'm away from the keyboard now. Have a great weekend, everybody. And thanks for stopping in today, Mikey. There's only just a few minutes left here. I'm at the 56, almost 57-minute mark of the stream. So if you have any last-minute questions or comments, now's a good time to get them in. Let me see if there's anything I wanted to recap from today. Yeah, undereating, biggest problem there is out there. If you've been stuck for a long, long time, whether you consider a long time being a couple of months or a year or whatever, the first thing I suggest, because when you undereat, from everything and remember, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, I'm just a retired truck driver, but everything that, as I understand it, eating too little can do very bad things to your metabolism. And I've never seen a cave painting of a fat guy. So the first thing I would do if you're having problems is eat more. And then if that doesn't work, if you really can't get the ball rolling by eating more, contact Dr. Barry or Steak and Butter Gang, or schedule a private consultation with Professor K, or Jonathan over at Carnivore Muscle, or Nicole at Former Fat Girl. There are many people out there who are actually qualified to give you advice on what to do next for your nutrition. I can only comment on things I've tried and things that work for me. And I can give you some suggestions, but remember, this is nothing I say should be construed as advice, because as I've said many times, I'm just an old retired truck driver. I can tell you about my story, and I can tell you what worked for me. If you need something beyond that, as I said, there are lots of people out there that are actually qualified to help you with that. Let me see if there's any last minute questions here. For those of you that have never been on one of my streams before, I'm looking over this way, not because I'm ignoring you. My camera's there. My big screen that I can actually read comments on is over there. Or is it your T cells teach the stem cells to become NK cells? I forget. I don't know. Wish me luck for my fight against my hormones this week. You can do it. You can do it. Good advice, Jonathan, is a great choice. Don't do what that quack Rick does. I agree. Sorry, Rick. But yeah, Jonathan is a great choice. Nicole, I don't know a whole lot about what she teaches, but she seems very smart. I know Professor K is a good choice, but if you're looking for some help, perhaps Jonathan before Professor K due to the difference in cost. But if cost is not an option, is not an object for you, go ahead and talk to Professor K, because he is the expert on all this stuff. Let's see what Craig had to say. I tried to send you a picture of the jerky source. What's your email? I wouldn't even give him that. I can email Bob and you can email Bob. Maybe that way he can send each one of us our email addresses. Don't put me in the middle of this thing. But I don't see any other questions in there. I do want to thank all of you for coming by the stream this week. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on your way out. After it's over, drop down in the comments, leave a comment. If you think I said anything today that somebody might find useful, go ahead and share this out with your friends. But that's what I've got for you today, folks. Don't forget to get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you in the next one.